Good morning, everybody. It is Friday. It is March. It's March. How in the world did that happen? It cannot already be March 3rd, but here we are. You know how I know it's March? Because I see pollen outside. It has been crazy, right? More on the pollen later, but that's how I know it's March already. Well, good morning to you. It's Coffee Talk with Kama Time. It is 8:30. It is Friday. I've got my Kama cup of coffee. Do you have yours? If you don't have a Kama cup and you want one, hit me up, DM me, post it here, whatever you want. A special box just went out this week. One that we've been trying to get connected for a while, but we sent some Kima cups to two very important people to me. Mary Garner DeVoe and Bob Cologne. Happy Kima Cup and Friday to you. Hopefully you get a chance to see this and raise your Kima Cup today. Anyhow, listen, I'm excited. We got a lot to talk about today. There's some days where we come in here and we have, a little 10, 15 minutes. Some days I come in here and I ramble on for a long time. And no, I do not need any comments about how I can ramble on for a long time. Hey, good morning, Lisa. Good to see you. All right, so what is today? Well, today's the day that I want you to be happy. No, I didn't make that up. That's a national day. I want you to be happy. This National Day thing's gotten out of control. I'll be honest with you. Just today alone, it's the National Anthem Day. It is the day of unplugging. It is Mulled Wine Day. Now, I love a good mulled wine. It's Employee Appreciation Day. Shout out to you, Addie, Maddie, Carrie, and Andrew. My team, my staff, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then finally, the best part about today, it's National Cold Cuts Day. Who doesn't love cold cuts, right? Especially at Boar's Head. Come on now. Come on. Listen, cold cuts, a little piece of cheese, maybe some banana peppers. Head over to Publix so they get you a pub sub. Man, that is so good. Less is more. It is, Lisa. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I appreciated that comment this week. Anyhow, a couple of upcoming days this week to put on your calendar in case you want to celebrate before I see you again next Friday. On the 4th, it's National Sons Day. I raise my Kima cup to my two guys. Sometimes I raise my fist to them, but most days I raise my Kima cup to them. So shout out to Cole and Canada, but it's National Sons Day. This is my favorite one. For those of you that remember me getting D's and F's or E's in English, it's National Grammar Day on the 4th. And then National Pound Cake Day. The things you can do with pound cake, let me tell you. Ask my wife about bourbon bites and pound cake. And I mean that, sincerely. If by the way, if you don't have an air fryer, get yourself an air fryer, then call Jen about bourbon bites and pound cake. On the 7th, it's National Flapjack and Cereal Day. On the same day? How can you celebrate cereal and flapjacks on the same? Like, somebody's got to get control here in this country. We have totally lost control. And then on the 9th, my favorite one, National Meatball Day. Yes, yes, yes. We're going to have meatballs on the 9th, I hope. Somebody who watches this regularly gave me some grief last week. Trey McDonald, this is a shout out to you. I got to go to the NC State Carolina basketball game, and for the first time in like 39, 57, 100 years, State beat Carolina at State. And so I raised my cup to all you State fans for getting that national championship a couple of weekends ago. In the comments here, I talk about how can two losses actually turn out to be wins. Well, that's one loss. The other loss is Camden had his very first baseball game this week with his high school team, and they got pummeled. They got beat bad. But how did those both turn out to be wins, even though we lost on the scoreboard? Well, at the Carolina game, I got to sit next to my son Cole, which is a fleeting thing these days. He's 19 and moving on in life a little bit. And I got to sit next to Cole for 2 hours and just talk basketball. It's the first time we've done that in a couple of years. And I'll be honest with you, I was in heaven. Score did not matter. Well, score mattered. I don't figure. But it was great. And then Camden, as most of you know the story, Cam had to miss the last almost full year of baseball due to a couple of significant injuries. And so the win for us was just seeing him back on the diamond again. And so grateful for that. Very grateful for that. Very blessed. So that's how two losses could actually be two wins, right? So ACC tournament's coming up. If you don't mind, let me know if you're going. I'll find a way to get there one of these days. I'm not sure which day we'll go to. Hopefully the Heels make a little bit of noise and some tickets free up. Maybe we'll head down for the weekend, but we'll see. We'll see. To that end, I posted this yesterday. On March 16th, it's the first day of the NCAA, not those play-in games. I'm talking about the real first day of the NCAA tournament, that Thursday, where all the games are on. And I'll tell more about this next week. But just know that on that day, I'll be camped out at Real McCoy's from about 11:30 till whenever. Oftentimes we'll get anywhere from 10 to 40 people there, right? I've done this 24 years in a row now. And so you are welcome to come by, spend the entire day with me watching basketball, pop in just for lunch, pop in for a cold beer, whatever you want to do, I'll be there. I'll tell you more about it next week as we get within a week then of the actual event. Put it on your calendar. March 16th, all day long, Real McCoys here in Wake Forest. So last night, let me back up. I don't know anything about pop culture. I don't watch the news. I really don't know what's happening most days, right? I say that to tell you that I stumbled across a podcast a couple of years ago by somebody named Mandy Matney. And Mandy Matney was a podcaster doing I was just looking for like a mystery or an unsolved mystery, those kinds of things. I've been hearing about these. So I decided to tune in. And Mandy was doing something on this case called the Murdaugh case. I'd never heard of it. I knew nothing about it. I didn't realize it was a national thing. I had no idea. But I started listening to this podcast every week, and she is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. She did a great job on this podcast for the last couple of years. Really dug deep, probably put herself at risk, quite frankly. Lot different story than what you're hearing in the national news. Now, the results were the same. I mean, she came to the same conclusion the jury did last night. But it was really, really interesting to see investigative journalism without being, skewed by a national media bent, right? ABC, NBC, Fox, they had no influence on her. She just gave the facts, and it was really refreshing and really good to come to my own conclusion based on facts and not the slant of a national media. It's the first time I can remember in my adult life of something that significant where I got my own insight without looking at a national media bent. So anyhow, what a crazy day yesterday was for those of you that followed along. He was convicted on all counts, and now this morning at 9:30, in less than an hour, will be sentenced to whatever that turns out to be, and likely many life sentences. So anyhow, a shout out to Mandy Matney. I will say, Mandy, if you're watching this, I tagged you here. I did not like when you went to a paid subscription recently, right? As a big fan, I appreciated all the insight you gave, and then I felt like we weren't getting it all right there at the end. But again, shout out to you, did a great job. Which brings me to podcasts. Now, what do I do for a podcast now? So every morning when I wake up and get ready for the day, I put on the Locked On Raiders podcast. There's a Locked On for every major team, right? Locked On Raiders, they do a little 20-minute podcast every single day, Monday through Friday, and I listen to that, news and notes of the Raiders, first thing in the morning while I'm getting ready. So that's my morning thing. I love listening to Ed Milet, but you can only listen to so much of a single podcast. I used to listen to The Way I Heard It by Mike Rowe. Win, Make, Give by Ben Kinney. Listen, if finances and being successful in business is important to you, Win, Make, Give by Ben Kinney is really good. And then this weekend, or 2 weekends ago maybe, I saw something on one of those Good Morning America kind of shows, talking about something called Beautiful Anonymous, a geeky little guy. I think he's an actor. All he does is he opens up his phone. You can call in from anywhere in the world, and he lets you speak for an hour. It's you just venting, and there's no filter. I have not listened to this yet, but that sounds like an interesting thing to maybe go listen to. Again, that's Beautiful Anonymous. But I need a podcast. If you have something that you just love, that you're really into right now, would you send it to me? Would you post it here? Anything like that? I would really, really appreciate it. Hey, Lump, good morning to you, brother. Always good to see you here, man. Yes, a Raiders podcast, Lisa. I'll send you the link, right? I'll send you the link. Anyhow, so this weather, we talked about the pollen just a little bit ago, right? The pollen's bad already. All you gotta do is look in people's eyes. You can see the water in their eyes. You're hearing them sneezing, coughing. You can't tell if somebody's got a cold or if it's just allergies from the pollen. Which, by the way, I've never had allergies, but I noticed with every passing year, I sneeze a little more in the spring than I used to. But the pollen is covering everything. While I don't like this rain because we're probably going to get our baseball game canceled today, I do appreciate the rain washing away some of this pollen, right? We need some snow. We need some snow. I know it's March, and I know some of you get upset about this. We need one really good. A, I'm tired of killing mosquitoes in February. But two, we need snow. Just because it feels good. It slows things down. It's beautiful. Take good pictures of your houses, right? But it's great to get like one good cleansing snow a year. Here's how I believe it can still happen. Get this. California, Southern California is getting snow and hail. Snow and hail. It's 30-something degrees in Las Vegas. Guys, think about that. Does that mean, I mean, listen, quite frankly, with things the way they're changing, this isn't a political comment, but things the way they're changing with our weather, why can't we get snow in Raleigh in March or even April, one of those good old nor'easters we used to get in New England, right? Do you realize that 16% of California is no longer in a severe drought? That's great news. That's great news for California, right? Water out there has always been an issue and has been more recently, the last 20 years, but 16% and growing by the day, just over 16% actually. So anyhow, that's my, I'll do, people do rain dances. I'm going to do a snow dance. I know we're not going to video it for you, but come on, seriously, don't we need a little bit of snow? If you're in favor of snow, give me a 1 in the chat today. Somebody put a 1 in there if you're in favor of snow. If you're not in favor of snow, don't even comment. I don't want to hear from you. So weird news of the weird. I found 3 things that caught my eye this week that I thought were really, really interesting. In Santa Maria, California, a 31-year-old showed up over the weekend to the courthouse. And he showed up to the courthouse to learn about his upcoming hearing about vandalism. Obviously discovered the courthouse was closed on the weekends, so he broke in and vandalized and set it on fire because he had an upcoming hearing on vandalism. I can't make that up, guys. Seriously, no joke. Did you hear that a Polish mother of 7? Now, first of all, let's just stop there. Mother of 7, God bless her, right? She already deserves a medal. And that's more than a participation trophy, let me tell you. She's earned that medal. Just gave birth to quintuplets. Can you imagine having 7 Rugrats running around your house and then having 5 more at one time? Never mind, 1 more at one time. Anyhow, Chase, what's up, buddy? Chase, I'm going to reach out to you today. I need to talk to you. By the way, congrats on the most recent sale. And listen, if you guys are looking for the next phenom, and you guys want to cheer on the next phenom, Chase has a young daughter who is a golfer, and she's bright. And not only bright, but she's really, really good at golf. Follow Chase Barnes socially if you want to see something. She travels the country playing in tournaments, and you'll see her on the big screen one day. But what a fun story to follow. Anyhow, that's a side thing there. So the final strange news I'll share with you is West Virginia. Oh, West Virginia. And I got a lot of my friends that'll be on here today. They're from West Virginia. So West Virginia's Senate just passed a bill that is going to offer $25,000 in tax credits to former West Virginians to move back to West Virginia. Sounds great. Nice incentive. $25,000 in tax incentives. Come on back home. Come back to your home state, right? Should the government not be looking at the cause of the problem for people to leave West Virginia more than putting a Band-Aid on it, just throwing tax dollars at it? Again, not a political statement. I love politics, but that's the kind of stuff that drives me nuts. But in West Virginia, they're actually paying you to move back home. Drives me nuts. Crazy stuff, guys. Crazy. So let's talk about the market. This is really interesting this week. So on June 23rd of last year, we saw actives decrease down from 4,600 down to 4,500 homes. Actives went down from 4,600 to 4,500 homes. This is on the end of June of 2022, okay? Actives started coming down, right? Meaning less houses, demand is up, right? Meaning the market becomes much more of a seller's market. That was the last time we saw that, because then they rose every single week with one exception, every single week all the way through November, right? The inventory grew every single week, meaning the active inventory, homes that were on the market for sale, grew every week from June to November. Why? Interest rates were doing this. People will stop buying houses. The market shut down. The fall was a bad market. The early winter was a bad market in terms of sellers, right? Sellers are sitting on inventory for the first time because of that. Inventory was rising every single week, all the way through the early parts of November. We'd risen all the way up to 6,900 homes, just over 6,900 homes. Again, we were at 4,500. We got up to 6,900 homes just in those few months. Think about that for just a second. That's 4 months. We climbed significantly in inventory, directly related to the rise in interest rates. Well, then the interest rates, right around that time, started leveling out. They didn't come down necessarily much, but they leveled out. We as America, just like gas prices, once they level out, we know what we're dealing with, we start getting active again. Well, the market started getting active again as the interest rate settled in the low to mid 6%, right? And so now we know what we're dealing with. The market starts picking back up. People are still dying, giving birth, graduating, moving, divorcing, marrying. All those kinds of things. So life events still happen, meaning people still have a need to change their living situations. So all of that When things settled down, all that started happening. Well, then we had a decrease, right? A decrease all the way down now to 5,000. We're actually down to 5,000 homes active for sale in our market right now. The market was so white hot at 4,500. We're down to 5,000 right now. Guys, the inventory just isn't there, meaning it leans towards a seller's market. Here's what I want to share with you. We actually had a tick up in inventory last week for the first time since November. Why? Interest rates went up, right? When interest rates go up, inventory starts to climb and people stop buying, right? And so I'm keeping an eye on this. If you're not working with a real estate broker right now that watches these numbers every single week, call somebody. It doesn't have to be me. Call somebody. It's whether it's here, New England, California, wherever you're watching from. Make sure you've got somebody who understands the numbers and doesn't just tell you a story they're hearing on the news, right? I say this with all due sincerity. Things change week to week in our business, and you've got to have somebody on the ground looking out for you. Now, here's the story. The story's a bit of a mixed one. We still hardly have any inventory. It still favors the seller a little bit. If interest rates continue to get up towards 7 and maybe above 7, I think that shuts it down again, right? And I'm not here to scare you, but here's what's important, what's interesting about that. If you're a buyer, don't you have a little more buying power at that point in time, right? Even though interest rates are higher, right? And I get that. I know you can buy less home with a higher interest rate, but you can't change the price of the home in a year or 2 years if the interest rates come back down. But you can change that interest rate. So maybe you're not buying the Taj Mahal home, but you can get your foot into the game. So if you're a first-time home buyer and you want to kind of talk this through, give us a call. We're glad to have that conversation with you. Back in June of last year, we had 1.1 months of inventory. Today, we've got 1.4 months of inventory. In December, we had almost 2 months of inventory. So, guys, we're still under 2 months of inventory no matter how you look at things. That favors the seller, even though the interest rates are high. Give me a call if you have any questions at all. I know it's a lot of numbers to throw at you. I get that. But we have to share this information with you so you can make a good decision along the way, right? Yeah, Lisa, I'm glad you sold when you did as well. Anyhow, listen, I'm so glad you guys are here today. I hope today was beneficial for you. I had a lot of fun. Again, March 16th, all day long over at Real McCoy's. Would love to see you there. If you want to come by and have a cup of coffee at the office while I'm at the home office today, I'll be at my office here in about an hour. You are certainly welcome to come on by and have a cup of coffee anytime. We love that. Come to the cafe. Coffee's free, and the advice you get is worth what you pay for it. I hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you in a week.